suspension's kind of mocked up with the old rear end so we can find a placement for the exhaust. So the goal is by the end of the day to have basically all the outer sheet metal ready for mud.
I'm sorry, could you go over that again? I missed the second and fourth line.
We do a lot of metal work on these things. Normally you would take this thing and have it media blasted, but we got to build this car pretty quick. We can't take years and years to do one project. This door fits pretty good. That door needs slid back and tilted in a little bit. We had Bob inside the car so he could loosen bolts that come in from the cowl. And everybody thinks, well, the fitment is at the end of the build. Well, it's not. You start right at the beginning to make sure the panels are fit and lined up and gapped, because if you don't do it from the beginning, it's going to be next to impossible to do it once there's paint on the car. I like it. It's really good. Certain people were good at certain things, and certain people were focused on fitting the bumpers, and if there was something that we found, we just circled it and wrote Eddie. And then Eddie went around with the welder and the cutoff tools and made little patches wherever we needed it. Look at me, I'm Eddie, I'm working.
The next tapping you hear will be Tim's head and his hammer.
Josh was a big addition to the team. We can do a little bit of everything.
Somebody standing there and tighten it up.
I've always been able to build it for myself, but I've seen a lot of people that wanted to build it but didn't have the skill or didn't have the money to be able to build something like that. And it's just nice to be able to do it for somebody else and give it back to somebody that deserves it.
Going back.
Time for the third and final test fit of this Hemi. There it is. The transmods were perfect, but if those headers don't fit, well, it's going to take us days to make them from scratch. So we picked up a new set of ceramic long tube headers from Doug's. Now these are actually designed for late model Hemi upgrades like this car. Now these things more than fit, they're perfect. And if it was up to me, I'd dump them out right underneath the doors. But I'm sure Tim has a beautiful exhaust he's got to run all the way to the back.
Puppy.
So I still can't yank that engine out to start building it.
Oh, you checked it off?
I got you. It's coming. That's good.
Well,
you take that to the bank, buddy.
No, we only check it off when it's done.
Just don't know when it's coming.
Oh!
So we got a lot of horsepower in this thing, so we need to get the exhaust out in a hurry. So we start with a 3-inch MagnaFlow universal hot rod kit. It needs to be over a little bit more than that, actually. Exhaust isn't the easiest thing, especially on one of these old Challengers. Being a unibody car, you don't have a big frame rail right in there to hide the exhaust. And I don't really like to see exhaust hanging down really low. Snaked it up over the rear end, around the 4-bar coilovers, and out the back. Just a little bit. No, not that much. Go back up. Right there.
One of these, cut it in half.
And the guys from All Speed Customs made some more metal work on the back of that thing. And they added some diffusers also, just for another cool factor.
Diffusers are more of like your styling system, plus they help with aerodynamics. It gives you that nice foreign car look of like Ferrari, Porsche, and stuff like that.
With the exhaust out, along with the Hemi, more new parts are rolling in.
So we got a whole bunch of stuff from Summit. They help us out on a lot of projects. They really stepped up big for us on this one. They sent us a little bit of everything from wire harnesses to gauges. And another thing Summit has is their own line of stuff. These fans are actually Summit brand. The steering wheel is actually Summit brand. Along with all these other name brand companies, we got everything we need to put this Challenger together.
Next, progress moves down to the other end of the tech center when our horsepower guys build some big Hemi power.
Getting a late model Hemi in it and a 6-speed transmission. Man from Summit stopped by today, and it's always a pleasure when the Summit people stop by. They help us whenever we need help, and I don't think she's ever came into a search and restore build and seen us actually knee-deep doing a build. So I think she was a little surprised and she was ducking sparks a little bit, but she really enjoyed being able to see this thing in progress.
These people are enthusiasts. They're long-term, part of our customer base, part of our community, and that's why we want to be involved in it. We love this. We play with our toys too. These guys want to play with their toys. It's all about getting it done.
And that they are. Time for the suspension.
Strange Engineering is known for not only good suspension parts, but heavy-duty drag race stuff. So I know this rear end is going to be plenty tough to handle the horsepower.
And just like the rear body parts, the front is reusing all original metal as well, along with more modifications.
Just take a little body hammer, that's just going to go whoop.
Doing a lot of the custom trim work is Ricky White, a third-generation lieutenant in the Memphis Fire Department.
I found out this guy was a firefighter and how he was always giving his time for other people, and hey, I'm no better than he is. Why can't I give my time to help him, you know what I mean? He's going to get something that's going to be the envy of all his friends. He's going to get a masterpiece.
We're doing really good, but we are still grinding some areas. A little later today, we'll get it up in the air and build the brake lines and get them out of the way. So the cool thing about us guys that build hot rods for a living, we can look at an old piece of junk sitting in the junkyard and we can envision it done. Driving down the road, what color it is, how it's gonna sound. When I look at this thing, I can hear it rumbling, I can feel it going down the road, and I can see the colors and the graphics that I got in my mind. It might change a little bit as we go, but I think all these guys back here feel the same as I do.
Tim's team is down to the final touches on the body. The mocked-up engine is out and ready to build. Time for Mike Galley and John Bouchard from Horsepower TV to do their thing.
Finally, we were able to wash off all that grinding and sand and debris that Tim seems to love so much. This is a 2005 5.7-liter iron hemi block. Now, it produced 340 horsepower back in its stock form. We had it machined to accept a bulletproof rotating assembly and make some serious power.
Our goal is to make between 500 and 550 horsepower natural aspirated with all these high performance parts on the table. Now, as we install them, you'll see who they're from and what they do. But first things first, the crankshaft.
It's a stroker from K1 Technologies, a forged piece that's been neutrally balanced. Now, the longer stroke pulls the piston down deeper in the cylinders, which pulls in more air and fuel, which means more power. Held in place with the stock main caps, loaded with new bearings. Comp Cams custom ground this camshaft for this combination of parts, with more lift and duration to complement that additional stroke. A tensioner plate that houses the chain guides goes on first, followed by a factory Mopar timing set we picked up from Summit Racing. Comp supplied us with a degree kit for this Hemi. It uses a special socket for the crank and an extension on their dial indicator. The process is the same though as any other engine. Wiseco supplied us with forged pistons that have a positive dome with 2 valve reliefs. The coated skirts will resist wear and reduce temperature. The rings are a file fit set, which means they need to be fitted to the bore. Now, they're a metric design with a moly coating. Down under that, H-beam forged rods will connect the two with a full floating pin. This Melling oil pump is driven by the crankshaft and resembles an LS1 mounting style. The pickup bolts to it. Make sure the O-ring is in place and lubed.
We'll be good on pan height.
To close the front up of this Hemi, a passenger car timing cover we coated black at nitro plate. The pickup slurps oil from a matched Milodon 6-quart pan. It's specifically designed to fit in the new cradle in this Challenger. Factory Mopar roller lifters will slide into the lifter bores, along with the retainers. These will retain the lifters when there's no tension on them, allowing cam swaps to be performed without removing the heads. ARP studs are used to secure the heads. And to seal them to the block, a set of Cometic MLS head gaskets were sent to us by rockauto.com.
We're finally getting there.
Man, it'd be nice to hear this thing run.
With ARP lube on the washers and the threads, we can hand tighten all the nuts. Comp Cam's valve springs were installed to match our cam profile.
Bill, you don't like to try them out. No, I don't.
Next, the Hemi is buttoned up, and we'll meet a Marine on leave from Afghanistan who's spending his week giving back.
Search and Restore is awesome. You know, it's for a great cause, and WD-40 is doing an awesome thing here, donating their time and money and stuff like that for the vehicle, for a deserving, you know, firefighter. It's a great deal.
Day 5 of our Challenger build, and spirits are high, especially down at the horsepower shop where the Hemi is getting buttoned up.
That's my sequence. Do, do, do.
I'm John and I know it.
Woo!
Ooh. Ty's heads have an intake runner that were CNC machined with a 180cc runner volume. The exhaust runners measure at 57cc, and with our 58cc combustion chamber, we'll have 11:1 compression ratio, allowing them to run on pump gas. Comp push rods can go to the rest of the lifters, and a small amount of lube can be placed on the top, followed by the factory shaft rockers. And FYI, the factory head casting is what is used for all late model Hemi high performance head upgrades. These wrinkled black finish valve covers are from Indy cylinder heads. They're a cast design and will be used on the dyno only.
But not this week. There's just enough time to work on the brakes.
So I had Jason help me. He's never built a brake line kit, but it's pretty simple.
I'm a helicopter mechanic in the United States Marine Corps. When working on helicopters, you have to be very meticulous in what you do, you know, extra care and attention to detail, and same thing with building a car.
We got this SSBC kit from Summit. Comes with a couple coils of the hardline, all the fittings, the T's, even the little tabs to weld onto the frame, and even the braided lines all in one package.
It was challenging, you know, at first because we had to bend the brake line, get it to fit around the frame, through the frame.
He'd help me cut, flare, drill holes, put all the clamps on. He was a fast learner.
I think I'm doing pretty good so far.
So who do we thank for Jason's help?
I'm connected through WD-40 through my wife, Shannon, who is the assistant brand manager. She's my wife, so I married into it, you could say, to WD-40. How you doing over here, babe? The reason why I like Shannon and love Shannon is because she is a hard worker. She's dedicated to her job. You know, she's a go-getter, and everybody at WD-40 sees that, and that's what they love about her, is that she takes care of business.
It's really important and special the fact that I get to share this opportunity with my husband, Jason Edwards, who serves our country day in and day out with the United States Marine Corps.
With me being in the military, yes, it is tough, but we try to do a lot of stuff together as a family. Looks like you're doing a good job at it.
Everyone trusts our little blue and yellow can to get the job done right every single time. But we also now have a new line of products called WD-40 Specialist. And it's really intended to help get those jobs done that are specialized. The WD-40 company recognizes that it's really important to give back to our community. We have helped abused and neglected children through SEMA Cares and their charities, and revitalize neighborhoods to those people in need, working alongside rebuilding together. And we're very honored to give back to Ty, our firefighter, on the 74 Challenger.
You know, in the end, everything's quality. You know, like Tim wants it done right. The gentleman gets his car back. It's gonna be trick. It's gonna be done right.
Tell us about the tires, Eddie.
These are Mickey Thompson's new ultra high performance street comp tire. They're built for wet or dry pavement, and they're built for handling and cornering. We're gonna put an 18.9 on the front and an 18.10 on the back.
And we wrapped them around New Gen's Performance Series wheels. Owner John Henson modeled these after a really cool race wheel from the 60s and 70s called the Mini Light. These are a forged aluminum wheel, cast gray centers with a polished hoop. Come on, skip around for us. They're getting loopy. So Search and Restore operates on pure volunteers. We have people that travel from all over the country. Pretty good, huh? Yeah. Good job this week, guys. Good job, guys. And man, we can't thank them enough. Pretty awesome.
I'd come back here. If they said they were all coming back, I'd be here in a heartbeat. This was an honor to work with these guys.
5 days, 6 months worth of work right there. Pretty much, ain't it?
Yep. Something to be proud of, man, that's for sure.
Next, new week and a fresh crew tackle stage 2, body work, when Search and Restore continues.
Okay guys, welcome to the beginning of week 2. This is the week that's the hardest, most strenuous, labor-intensive job that we do on the builds. We had a lot to do in a short amount of time. We'll probably go ahead and take it over to the prep station first thing. Some people can start body working, some people can run the grinder. Trunk latch needs put on, the trunk needs final fit.
Sandpaper.
We'll pretty much skim coat this thing head to tail.
Volunteers at this stage of the build first suit up for battle, because once the mud and dust start flying, it's like a war zone.
Had a guy buddy long ago that guy taught him how to do body work, said you put the body putty on and you wait overnight before you start sanding it. I was like, what?
Did he put harder in it?
Yeah. Sometimes I get my friends that I've known for a while and I really respect their work. This week that was Ted from Detroit Speed.
Trying to keep up, fast pace around here.
He's worked around the country at a few other super high-end shops.
You have to hustle.
And he is at home at Detroit Speed.
I picked up my first sanding block when I was 13 and realized how neat it was shaping that Bondo. So I ain't seen anybody as fast as Tim when it comes to body work. I mean, he's fast.
Take that little die grinder I put in that one drawer.
I do this for a living. Just here, it's more fast paced. Quality's just about the same, you know. They're quality cars here, so really cool deal volunteering for this fireman.
Every time you take a break and you go to the refrigerator, you know, you see the guy's face and it's like, all right, let's get back at it.
We also got a couple Midwestern boys that show up, a father and son, Randy and Cody.
A lot of work.
Pretty cool, father and son working together, but they've been a big help, because you can tell they've done a lot of this.
I've always been in the garage with my dad. If it's auto mechanics, I tend to be right. If it's body work, he's always right. We get along great.
A couple years ago, we went to Skills USA, a competition for trade schools.
From Iowa, he went on to Kansas City to the Nationals and placed 20th in the nation. We're best buds, really. I mean, you know, teasing and joking back and forth like a couple of kids in school.
Search and Restore operates on pure volunteers. Well, from time to time, we get one or two that don't show up.
When I said it's hard to find good help, I meant it's hard to find good help.
We got this guy named Steve. Some of you guys have seen him on the show before, but he's actually the guy that drives the truck and trailer for the Search and Restore pickups. And when he's not driving for a pickup, he's sitting over here in a little cage that we keep him locked up in, that he ships all the DVDs and the merchandise to anybody that orders stuff. We brought him in for a little bit of block sanding 101.
Yeah, you always want to keep your block flat. If you go straight like that, you're going to put race car grab lines in it. So you want to crisscross it. And when you're changing grits, you can see what you're doing. If you've got some really deep scratches like that, that's not going to come 80 out. What you're doing is pretty much getting it flatter with 80. Then we've got some polyester glazing putty that will tight skim it and fill the big scratches. So don't worry. You don't
He loves his sanding. He'll sand on a car for days, but it has to be straight and it has to look right. And that's important to him. I enjoyed it a lot because I got to learn and I got to hang out, have a little fun. The guys that are here for the build, they're great. They definitely know what they're doing and they definitely know a lot more than me. They're in there slinging mud, sanding. Nobody has to tell them what to do and when to do it. They just take it upon themselves to get it done.
I need some gold stars, because if Steve keeps doing like he's doing, at the end of the day, he might get a gold star by his name on the whiteboard. A little blue paper to bring home to Mom?
You're not that good yet.
One guy who definitely deserves a gold star is our owner, Ty Cardona, who did his homework by purchasing full and partial quarters from year one.
They got everything you need for your Mopar muscle car, from weather strip to sheet metal to wiring, to all kinds of stuff, all from one place. Look at that, the same year car and the yellow. How crazy was that?